Welcome in the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. We're talking about the guys who got their contracts in the NFL this week. We're talking about college football because it's finally here, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, man. The people in the room. G Money Grant Mitchell. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Tanner. I'm about 24 hours away from a 10-hour drive down to Georgia, going down for my girl's sister's wedding. I am the DJ and the MC, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. I was chosen to be the MC, actually, because we do this podcast and because some of the video stuff that I do. They were like, why would we spend money hiring somebody when you've got the voice for it? So it'll be fun. I'll be able to report back and say how it actually goes. I almost feel myself as like a real member of the wedding now. And this is my first time, so I'll let you know how it goes.
You're DJing at the wedding?
I am. I have the DJ boards down in my basement.
Do you know how to use them?
Yeah.
When did you learn how to DJ?
So in college, I had a friend who had just like a beat making kit, and I literally just used to fool around. And then maybe 2021 or so, I had a friend who actually thought he was going to get hired for some DC club events. It never went through. But he was supposed to be DJing. And so I went over and we were just making some music together. And so, yeah, I actually know, I know how to make transitions. I know how to loop things. I know how to use the faders, all that stuff. I got some of the equipment. Yeah.
That's fun. That'll be a good time. Better watch out, though. The roads are pretty dangerous down in Georgia.
It's week one. They're going to be drinking and they're going to be driving.
Well, the good thing is at least the players should be locked. I think Kirby keeps them locked down on Friday night. So when's the wedding? Saturday?
Saturday afternoon.
So you'll be down there. You're driving down on Thursday, Friday?
I'm driving down tomorrow, Wednesday.
Okay. So you probably Wednesday, Thursday night, you got to watch out down in Athens. Friday, the players will at least be locked up. And then Saturday's game day. Then stay off the road Saturday night.
Yeah, the game's at 3:30. The wedding's at 4. So I think we got to make sure we're there early because we can't. If we go at noon, we're gonna be running into some trouble on the road.
I think they're gonna win by 50 points and then go drag racing on Saturday night. So, anyways, Grant, we got a lot to talk about today. One thing I want to bring up real quick because we have not talked about. I want to get your opinion on it. The Raja Jackson situation with the wrestler. Have you seen that going around?
Okay, I'll admit right now, I know very little about this. I just know generally what happened, and that's it. I haven't seen the clip.
Though, right?
No, I haven't seen the clip. I haven't seen anything.
Really?
Yeah.
You got to go check it out. He basically killed the wrestler, and it's viral news right now.
Didn't he not kill him? Originally, it was reported.
He put him in the hospital, and apparently he flatlined. I don't know how he didn't kill him. So he basically went in. He was supposed to just do a double leg and throw some fake punches, but he goes in the ring, puts him on his shoulder, slams his head into the mat, and then throws 22 punches to his face. I was like, this is crazy. It was insane. The guy probably should have died. Now he survived, but there was a lot of clips earlier on, outside the arena where the wrestler slams a beer on his head. I think it's a prop beer can because it doesn't do anything to Raja, but apparently he was concussed, so he took it the wrong way. And I don't think Raja really understood professional wrestling, and he was also concussed and crazy. And it was a bad cocktail all the way around. And Rampage Jackson put a tweet out basically saying that and saying he was concussed and he wishes everything for the wrestler, and he's very upset with his son. And man, the kid could go to jail though, honestly. For a long time.
He should. He should.
Watch the clip, though. I'm surprised you haven't seen that.
No, I will. I had a friend talking to me about it yesterday. Yeah, I've just been super busy these last couple of days, so I didn't see it. What happened? What happened immediately after that moment?
Basically, the next clip we saw was him, and this was all streamed on Kick. So the next clip we saw was him outside the arena talking to somebody, being like, "Yo, he flatlined. You're in trouble." So it was a bad situation. I truly don't know how the guy survived. It was 22 punches to the face, and everyone's like, why didn't the ref break it up? Well, the ref probably isn't thinking in the moment. Why did the wrestler let himself get slammed on his head? Because he thought it was going to be a wrestling stunt, and he didn't think the dude was going to slam him on his head. So people weren't breaking it up at first, and eventually all the wrestlers hopped in the ring and held him back. But, you think they're fake punches at first. It doesn't even register because this is supposed to be a skit.
Man, some of these wrestling, obviously this is a different situation, but some of these wrestling stunts can go bad very quickly, and they can have you can break your neck so easily.
Well, that's the art of wrestling, is just protecting the guy you're wrestling with, basically, and making it look real. But this was like a unsolicited freaking beatdown, and it was embarrassing. I don't even know. I don't even know how you can defend Raja Jackson. There's people online defending him here, but I don't understand. But
the only motivation for the attack is that there was a stunt with a fake beer bottle and he took it the wrong way.
I think so. The wrestler slammed a beer can on his head, but I think they were hyping up the match. Like they were hyping up the situation where Raja was going to come in, double leg him, and get his revenge. There's a lot of different kick clips circulating right now because, again, the whole thing was streamed. So more people are clipping it and sending it out of like what happened before the buildup and all that. But this is like big news on like TMZ has been reporting it. A lot of other media outlets and the ESPN reported it. It's just that the video is violent. Like you're going to be blown away.
Well, viewer discretion is advised, and prayers to that guy. I mean, it sounds awful.
Yeah, he was like a military veteran with PTSD, and he needed wrestling to like cope, and so it's just tough situation. But anyways, we got to bring the mood back up here. I was just wondering what your thoughts were because I know you're a big fighter.
Well, we were supposed to fight back at the 2.0 network.
I would have beat your ass. Like it wouldn't have. I'm boxing now too, by the way.
Are you actually?
Yeah, I got my hand wraps right here. I'm not lying. I got my
That's awesome. I've told you this before, I think, but if I woke up with $100 million and I could do whatever I wanted, I would train as a boxer. I love the intensity of it.
I'm in like the workout classes with people trying to lose weight, but it's still, I mean, I feel like but they're taught by real fighters. So I feel like if I was out on the street trying to like get in a fight with somebody, I feel more prepared now than I did before. Like I know I'm going to hit him with a 1-2. I'm going to go shot to the body, a little knockout punch, where before I definitely wouldn't have that much confidence.
Do you think it's easier for you starting this with your offensive line background? Like, do you think you have the footwork down?
No, I mean, it's not really. I mean, your footwork can go out the window here. Like you're just throwing punches. So it's all kind of how hard you want to go in a way. But yeah, I think footwork helps. Like when you're going 1-2 back, 1-2 in, punch and move, all that stuff, jab and move. Like, it definitely helps. I mean, I think overall athleticism. I don't know if it's football, but like if you're an athlete in there, you're going to have an easier time than if you're not an athlete just trying to go in there and lose weight. And there's a lot of those people in there. It's just cardio boxing. But I wouldn't train because my concussions. I would never do a actual boxing like training session.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, the reason I say I would train to box is because I just like the structure of it. Again, if I have $100 million and I don't got to worry about a job or anything, I would enjoy waking up, eating a bowl of fruit, going to run, come home, massage, go hit the pads, come back, like train, exercise, bike. I just like discipline. I like structure. So I think that would be cool.
Yeah, definitely. Now, speaking of $100 million, we got some big contracts popping up in the NFL. We're going to break those down here in a minute. But before we do that, make sure you guys subscribe to the podcast, Ride the Line, the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. We got promo deals all over the place on WSN.com, which is what we're presented by, the best world sports network out there. Betting picks, betting previews, betting promos. Grant, have you seen Futures Day for FanDuel too?
I have not, actually. Why don't you tell us about it?
FanDuel's running a Futures Day promotion today. So if you place a futures bet on any football, college football, NFL, you get a match, or you get a bonus bet. So it's up to, I think it's unlimited depending on what size your betting bankroll is, obviously. So if you're a $25 bettor, you're going to get 25. Typically, if your typical bonus is 50, you get 50 and upwards there. But that's going on FanDuel today. They also have promos like at 9:00, I believe this morning, there's a Super Bowl champion promo boost. So I think they're going to add plus 150 to all the teams there. And then they have about 5 or 6 of those going out today on various future bets. So if you guys are not on FanDuel, make sure you go to WSN.com, check out the FanDuel page, sign up there, get a nice promo, and you're going to get access to Futures Day. So it's good one there on WSN.com.
Also on WSN.com, Tanner said we got a bunch of sportsbook promo codes. That includes Caesars, if I'm not mistaken, Tanner. And so Caesars has some pretty cool offers as well. Let me see. Caesars, do we have? Yeah, we do have a promo code, and I'm looking at it right now. I'm not going to tell you what it is because if you want to find it for yourself, go to WSN.com. But we do have the promo code right there. I'm looking at their new offers, Tanner. They're upgrading their NFL betting experience. They've got a 2 to 3x increase in markets, the most prop bets ever offered on the platform. Quick picks available pre-match and in play, allowing customers to build parlays faster than ever. They rebuilt their home screen. They've got live quick pick parlays. They now have NFL jackpots, $50,000 of bonus bets weekly. Another 50,000 gets added to that if the previous week's offer goes unclaimed. So some pretty cool stuff going on over there as well.
I think Caesars could really compete in the betting industry from an online sports betting perspective. I know that's not their bread and butter. They're a landlocked casino in person, betting company more so, but they could really compete online with DraftKings, FanDuel if they just added more to their book. So it's good to see they're doing that.
Yeah, I think they're feeling the heat with Bet365 and Fanatics really starting to take hold. And ESPN Bet maybe not getting there, but certainly we know the infrastructure they had. And ESPN just announced these changes to their app and their streaming and everything. So I think they're feeling the heat, and they know they kind of got to up their game for like you said, their land-based casinos, they're good, but their online's got to get a little better. And it seems like they're doing that for the NFL season.
Do you see YouTube TV with Fox? That whole bull crap right now?
It's
all fake news. It
has to be, right?
Well, it's the same thing as March Madness. Like, we're going to get rid of TNT and TBS and all this before the NCAA tournament. It's the same exact thing. And then the audacity to put in the email from YouTube TV, hey, YouTube TV, the audacity to say, we're going to give you a $10 credit if we don't have the Fox Sports channels on there. Like, what's a $10 credit going to do for me? It does me no good. I want the Fox Sports channels. My question was, though, if you have Sunday Ticket, do you still get the games on Fox? I'm assuming so if you have Sunday Ticket.
I would assume so.
Yeah,
I feel like you have to.
You just don't get Fox Sports, FS2, FS3, all those channels.
Probably, yeah.
Bull crap. Anyways, contracts.
You want to start with Trey? You want to start with Terry?
We can start with Trey or Terry. We'll start with Terry because you're a Commanders lover over here. So I'll start with them.
Commanders. How just a fan? Why can't I just be a fan?
Nah, you're a Commanders lover.
Okay, so Terry McLaurin and the Commanders agreed to a 3-year, $96 million contract, which is an average annual value of $32 million. That ties him for the 6th highest amount of average annual dollars in the NFL for receivers. I'm trying to do this off of memory, but it goes Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, DK Metcalf, and then it's AJ Brown and Terry McLaurin are now tied 3 years, $96 million. We don't know what the guarantees are. And that makes me think that because this news came out 18 hours ago and we still haven't heard guarantees, makes me feel like if it was in Terry's favor, his representation, his side, his camp would have leaked those numbers. So the fact they aren't out makes me think that it's more of a team-friendly deal in that sense. But at the same time, Terry was holding out for this high $33 million value. He wanted what DK Metcalf got. Again, we're waiting to see the guarantees. DK's deal was for 4 years. If we take it to 3 years, then DK would get $60 million guaranteed. So that's kind of the center point here. If it's anything above 60, Terry's side, quote unquote, won. If it's anything below, then the Commanders, quote unquote, won. So we're waiting to see that.
I think it has to be below because he's not worth DK Metcalf's contract. And I'm assuming if the Commanders did budge on the money and give him what he wanted money-wise, the trade-off was the guarantees would be lower. So I'm assuming it's going to be lower than DK Metcalf.
And you know what's interesting? If they were going to do a trade-off, I would feel like it's more in the interest of the player to take the guarantees for a lower average annual value. Like I said it's the same deal that AJ Brown signed, right? Matter of fact, here, let me pull up the NFL receivers list because this is so interesting the way that the breakdown works. So DK Metcalf signed that deal. It's 4 years, $33 million a year. So he's making a total of 120 something, whatever. But only 80 million of that is guaranteed over 4 years. AJ Brown's deal is for 3 years, $96 million, but he has 84 guaranteed. So he actually has more guaranteed in one less year than DK does on his deal. So you would think it would be in the best interest of the player to get the higher guarantees, lower average annual value. If this is true and Terry gets, say, like 50 to 55 guaranteed, he's gone for the opposite approach, which is strange because I don't think it's in his best interest actually. But at the same time, as a fan, it makes me feel better because he's almost saying, like, make me earn the incentives and I will go do it with my performances. And that's how I'll get my large payday. So he's still incentivized to play at his best versus if he got 80 million guaranteed, then he could just relax knowing the money's his no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, he's incentivized to play well, but he also just has to stay healthy. In the end of the day, if you just stay healthy, you're going to get a large portion of that contract. And then when you get the stats and stuff, obviously you can get upwards and more money there. But it's a good deal, I think, for the Commanders. It's good for Terry, depending on the guarantees. Like, the Commanders needed Terry McLaurin to be relevant this season for sure, but he's not a wide receiver one of the future for them too. So I'm sure they'll address that in the coming free agencies and drafts, but definitely a good piece to have there. And the Commanders look like a team who can potentially do something this season. Grant, I know you guys were like the fourth quarter kings last year and you played a bunch of 1AA quarterbacks. So, I think it's going to be a little tougher for you this year.
Yeah, Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts and Jared Goff and Baker Mayfield, they're so bad, man. I don't know how we beat them.
We play 17 games. Actually, so cut out Baker because the regular season. And then you have 17 games. So, I mean, you got to play some tough quarterbacks, right?
Yeah, I mean, we do. But this is the thing. So with Terry being there and also just some of the development now, like Laramie Tunsil obviously being on the team, Josh Connerly coming in as a rookie out of Oregon. I look at this Commanders team, and last year you said it kind of jokingly that we were the fourth quarter kings, but that's really what it was. And it was specifically Jaden Daniels. I was looking at this morning, and it kind of blew my mind. I was looking at his game log, and in games in which Jaden Daniels did not have a QBR above 80, just to keep this in perspective, Josh Allen won MVP. His QBR was 77. So 80 is playing at better than an MVP level. When Jaden Daniels' QBR was not above 80, the Commanders were 6-5. They're basically 500. So you can say, some people can say this $32 million deal is too much for Terry. He's not worth that much money. But the thing is, you have to put pieces in place to take the pressure off of Jaden. So with an improved offensive line, with what they think is an improved running game, now with Terry and Noah Brown and Debo, and you make jokes about Zach Ertz, but he's still good, and Jalen Lane's an exciting rookie. Like, there are pieces now in place where not everything revolves around the play of your quarterback.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Trey Hendrickson, no, Grant. Moving on to the Bengals here. He basically just got a raise. So this really didn't do anything for Cincinnati long term. It just made the guy want to play this year. So that shows me that.
Oh, I think we lost Tanner there.
That shows me that they always had the intention of getting rid of him.
Yeah, so it's definitely an interesting approach to this, and I'm a little confused on what even happened, because there was a sideline report. Actually, we were talking about the Commanders. There's a sideline report before that Commanders-Bengals preseason game, and Trey Hendrickson had basically said the Bengals had come to the table with the right amount of years and the right amount of money, but not the correct guarantees. So that had framed it as if they were talking 2-3 year extension, whatever. Like you said, it's just a raise. He's still a free agent at the end of the year, but he's just making an additional $14 million this year.
And this is why they brought in Shamar Stewart. Like, they have full intention of sending Trey Hendrickson off the pasture and just giving him a raise. But this is a loss for the Bengals, in my opinion. You had the guy under contract. If you were going to give him money, give him an extension and keep him there, because you just paid a guy more money to get no more production from him. He was meant to be there. And again, if he didn't play this year, he would have forfeited all his money. I still think the Bengals defense isn't going to be good with Trey Hendrickson. Like, you have Shamar Stewart now, not that he's going to make a huge difference in year one specifically, but you just gave more money for no more time. And I don't think you need to reward a player. You don't need to reward a player in giving him more money in a year that they're already locked up. It's their fault for signing that contract. If they have the good season, they deserve more so an extension. And for your sake of your franchise, you'd probably rather give the extension. You just blew more money in a situation where, if he truly wasn't going to play, that's one thing, but your defense still wasn't going to be good without him, and you just spent more money.
It's a very risky approach to handling this situation, because let's say at the end of the year, Trey Hendrickson has 5 sacks. And the Bengals say, oh, okay, well, we would like to bring you back, and we're going to offer you significantly less money because we saw your production drop off a cliff. That's one thing. If Trey Hendrickson is once again their best player, he's had 17 sacks 2 years in a row. What if it's 3 years in a row? What if the Bengals defense sucks again? He's the only good piece they have, and that's 17 sacks walking out there. He's going to go get paid by someone else, and your defense, which was already bad, just lost its best player. And I guess you could make the argument at that point, then what does it matter? Because the defense is bad anyway. But like, You don't have a ton of money to spend when you're paying Joe Burrow and T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. You're just not going to have much money to spend on the defense in general.
Well, I mean, $14 million raise, you could go out and get a quality player for $14 million. Like you could get another piece to your defense for $14 million. And I know Trey Hendrickson's not being the team guy and he wanted the raise and, you know, he deserved more money. But if you're going to comply with that, you should probably extend him. Don't just give him a raise. Maybe he didn't want to be there long term. Who knows? Maybe this was just a 1 year thing. Hey, play this year and then I'll leave. But just a bad move for the Bengals, like continuing to make bad decisions with their players.
Yeah, they're just an interesting franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, on one hand, look, they got the T. Higgins deal done. They got Shamar Stewart's deal, which shouldn't have been a big situation. He's a rookie, but they got that figured out. They did get Trey Hendrickson back. Like on one hand, I guess you have to give them that if they view this as a 1 year window, they can fully compete in that 1 year. But beyond that, I'm still a little confused by what they're doing.
It's definitely a 1 year window for the defense with Trey Hendrickson, and then they're probably going to address it in the draft and free agency. But right now, at least, you know that you need a little more defensive help. If it's $14 million raise, that's what it is. But still, just a bad move. And you know what, Trey Hendrickson too, a 31-year-old pass rusher, who knows how he's going to be at 32 and 33. So I understand not maybe giving him the extension, but like I would at least try to lock him up for 2026 too, if you're going to give him an additional $14 million.
Yeah, I agree.
And then Micah Parsons is the last one here. He is the one who remains unsigned. This is a situation of he said, she said, where Jerry Jones is saying that he's given Micah Parsons the most money outside of a quarterback in NFL history. Then you got his agent basically being like, you know, lying about what Jerry said. And they're all lying. I think everybody's lying here. I think there's a situation on each side where probably people have said stuff that isn't true. Micah wants out of Dallas. I think that's the core issue here. Micah does not want to play for the Dallas Cowboys long term, whether it comes down to the contract negotiations early, whether it comes down to the coaching or the direction of the franchise. I think he just wants to leave the team.
I think it's a Jerry Jones thing specifically too. If we say the Cowboys and Jerry owns the Cowboys, so I get it, but I don't think he's fed up with the coaches. I don't think he's fed up with the fans. I don't think it's anything like that. I think he just does not feel respected by Jerry Jones. And one thing that I have been adamant about this and throughout this entire process is Dak Prescott is a company man. CeeDee Lamb, not a company man, but not someone who's willing to make a big stink publicly. Micah Parsons will make his statements and his actions. He will make it known to the public. And I don't say that maliciously or anything like that. I'm not talking down on him because I feel like the majority of Cowboys fans actually support Micah in this scenario. A lot of Cowboys fans I know say they would be happy to see Micah play for a different team next year. Obviously, they want him on their team, but in this situation, they understand that, look, Jerry is refusing to negotiate with an agent. And at that point, what is the purpose of being in the NFL? Jerry's negotiated with agents for decades and decades. I know that he prefers to talk to the players directly, but let's not act as if he's never spoken to agents before. Now, all of a sudden, when it's time to give out this huge contract, which if you listen to him talk, he's like, oh, yeah, I offered Micah the most money ever, but he just didn't want to take it. I don't know why. Does that really add up? Like if that were the case and Jerry put pen to paper and said, I'm giving you the biggest contract for a defensive player ever, and he sent it over to his agent and Micah's agent told him to shove it up his ass. That's what Jerry said. Those are his words. The math on that does not add up.
Well, I personally think when it comes down to money with these players, like Micah Parsons is in such demand, right? He could play somewhere else for another season, get locked up, get the big contract. So I'm not necessarily saying I'm taking Jerry's side here. I'm not taking Micah's side. I don't know if the money was truly as much as Jerry said, but Micah does not want to play for the Dallas Cowboys, whether it's Jerry, whether it's Schottenheimer, whether it's the fans, whether it's just the entire package. He does not want to be there. So I could believe Jerry gave him that money and he said, you know what, I can get this money somewhere else. In the end of the day, if you want to get out of Dallas, you'll take a little less to go somewhere else and you take that risk. And Mike is good enough to take that risk. As long as he doesn't tear both his ACLs, he's going to get that contract somewhere. So I think it's a situation where both sides are lying, but the core issue here is Micah does not want to be in Dallas. And that could have been caused by Jerry not giving him the money initially or these contract struggles early on, but Micah does not want to be there.
Yep. I heard reports that, and nothing 1000% confirmed, but it does sound like the Packers might have offered 2 firsts, a second, and a defensive player. Lucas Van Ness was being one of the players who allegedly were that player. And at that point, I get you want to keep Micah, but I honestly feel like that's a win for the Cowboys. I'm not going to lie. 2 first, a second, and a young defensive player. That's a lot. We know what Micah is. That's the difference. And these picks could turn out to be anybody. But I was listening to, I think it might have been the Ravens GM, and they were just talking about their approach to drafting. And they said at the end of the day, you want as many picks as possible because a first round pick could bust and a 7th round pick could be a gem. Now you want your picks to be towards the top of the board whenever possible, but the more attempts you get, no matter where the picks are happening, the more likely you are to stumble onto a contributor. So if you're getting 3 picks that early plus a young player, like, man, if Micah doesn't want to be there and you're going to go through all this, and at the end of the day, you're going to tag him and then he's still not going to play and he's going to cause all these headaches, it might be worth it just to accept that offer.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the Cowboys, football is better when the Cowboys are good. We have not really seen the Cowboys be substantial, like, or make a big impact in our lifetime. But football is better when the Dallas Cowboys are good, and we just have not seen them there. So I hope they get back to that at some point. I don't know if Micah Parsons is going to be a key piece to that or not, but I don't think you can also win with Dak. Like, I think you just need a full franchise reboot. And honestly, it's not going to come till Jerry steps down, or he might be going till he dies.
Kicks the can, yeah.
Yeah, he might be. There's no, because he's the owner. He's the CEO. He can do whatever he wants. He ain't going anywhere. Why would he?
This is a very morbid but also interesting thought experiment. If Jerry's time were to come tomorrow, does that mean Mike all of a sudden is totally open to playing for the Cowboys?
No, unless Stephen Jones is going to take over the team.
Right, but I don't know that Micah's beef is with Steven. It seems to be anytime Jerry says something publicly, Micah then comes out and talks about how bad it is.
Yeah, but Stephen Jones, is he going to think like his father? That's the question.
I don't know, but I feel like Steven would. I think there would at least be a conversation, at the very least.
He might hire a GM too. Like, we don't know. We have no clue how he's going to operate when he does take the team over. But the Jones family is going to run the Cowboys forever. It's never going to be sold.
There are a lot of Cowboys fans who just shuddered hearing you say that.
I can't wait for the Jerry Jones statue. That's going to be good. That's coming.
You think he's going to commission his own statue?
He won't, but his son probably will. I mean, he should have a freaking statue at the AT&T Stadium. The man, like, the Cowboys are as big as they are because of Jerry Jones. Like, people forget that. I know he has messed up the team recently. He may have dementia too, but like, Jerry Jones is the reason the Cowboys are the Cowboys.
No, what did he buy the team for?
I don't know. He definitely made a big profit on it.
He bought the Cowboys for $140 million.
That's a steal. My God.
Well, let me see what the inflation rate.
They're worth $12.8 billion.
So that 140 million based on inflation today would be 364 million.
That's still such a steal.
That's 12.5 billion.
364 million is such a steal for that team. $12.8 billion for the Dallas Cowboys right now. Yeah, they're never going to sell that team. And if they want to, great. I mean, they're going to be loaded forever. But like the Jones family, it does everything there. The Jones family is everything. The kids work there. I mean, the great grandkids work there. Jerry deserves a statue. The Cowboys would not be the Cowboys without Jerry Jones.
Are we good on Micah? Should we talk about college football?
Good on Micah. It's time to talk about college football. First off, Grant, what did you think of week 0? I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. The Ireland game is so stupid. It is
four fumbles in the first 17 minutes.
All right. First off, Avery Johnson, not that guy. He is not that guy. And I know there's no fight with him. And I know he threw some really bad passes in the rain. He's not that guy. Iowa State, they don't have exceptional talent across the board. Like even Rocco Becht, I'm not super high on Rocco Becht without the NFL talent that he lost last season. But the thing about Iowa State is when they had to turn it on in the trenches, they look like a completely different offense. The first half, I thought this team was one of the worst football teams I ever watched in my life. And Kansas State was just letting them play in the game. By the second half, I'm like, okay, Iowa State's a good offense that's going to give Kansas State a little trouble here. Kansas State still should have won the game. I think it's inexcusable that they didn't find a way to get it done because of the early mistakes. But both teams made mistakes. It's just stupid that we played it in Ireland. The game should have been in Kansas.
Yeah, I don't know. This whole Ireland thing, we talked about on the show. With Notre Dame, it makes sense. Okay, but Kansas State, Iowa. Did you see the picture? There were local pubs bought like flags of the colleges and stuff. They were flying the state flag of Kansas because they don't know any better. They probably just Googled Kansas state flag and they ordered the state flag of Kansas. Like that just proves this game does not belong in Ireland. And I don't mean any offense to the Irish people out there. Get Notre Dame out there every year, but Iowa State, Kansas State for the first game of the year in Ireland. It's like when the MLB starts their season at 3 a.m. in Korea.
That makes sense though.
Like it makes a little more sense. It makes a little more sense.
The only reason it doesn't make sense is because we start it like a week earlier than the regular season. That's the only reason it doesn't make total sense. But like, you're going to take Shohei Ohtani to Japan and bring him around like a freaking show pony. That's what you're going to do.
But like, they were starting in Korea at 3 a.m. when nobody's watching.
Still, though, you bring Shohei over there, you bring Yu Darvish over there. Like the people are going to go crazy for all those people in Asia. And also, too, Asian baseball players are loaded throughout the league. Like it's probably American, Dominican, Asian, Japanese, like, you know, all that. So they're making up a big chunk of the game. Us going to Ireland makes no sense. This is our game. This is the Big 12. First of all, the premier
in Iowa.
It's Kansas and Iowa. Like send Notre Dame makes sense. I have no problem sending Notre Dame. I have no problem sending Boston College. I have no problem sending a Catholic school over there to play a football game. But Kansas State and Iowa State in a game that should have been on turf in the Big 12 at a noon kickoff, like that's a problem to me. Also, like the Premier League, I know they come here for their little frenzies or what do they call them, friendlies, Grant.
It's essentially their preseason.
They don't come here for real games. They don't do it. There's a reason for that. We shouldn't go there to play football. It's dumb.
Well, we got real football this weekend, Tanner. Texas, Ohio State. Maybe the biggest game of the entire season, and it's in week 1.
Sark needs to win this game. If Sark doesn't win this game, you're going to start hearing that, like, the chirpers are going to come in talking about how bad a coach Steve Sarkisian is. He really hasn't done anything at Texas. He's done nothing. He's consistently lost big games at Texas. So now you finally got your team in the building. All your recruits are there, all your staff. This is the year that you've been working for. You got Arch Manning. There's no more excuses. If Texas does not win this football game, there's going to be a lot of people not starting to call for him necessarily, but then you lose 2 football games because I think you got LSU and you got Georgia on the schedule. You lose 2 football games. You can't lose a third one. So they need this one more than Ohio State needs it.
So Texas has Ohio State week 1. They got 3 weeks of nothing. They're at Florida. Then they got a few easy weeks. Then they are at Georgia.
So no LSU then. It's just
no Florida. LSU. They close the year with a home game against A&M.
That's not going to be an easy game, but by that point, you're going to know what they are.
You know what spot Sark is in? I think he's actually, it's funny because they're playing Ohio State. I think he's kind of in a similar spot to Ryan Day last year, where when Ryan Day lost that Michigan game, it became, you need to win the national championship or you might be out of a job.
Yes and no.
If Sark loses this game, they're going to be looking at him like, dude, you got to win the SEC. You might need to win the championship.
The only reason I kind of disagree with that is just because, like, Ryan Day has the game on the schedule with Michigan. That is the one that he can't win. So Ohio State fans look to that game. Where Steve Sarkisian doesn't necessarily have that game. Like, maybe it's with Oklahoma, but they beat Oklahoma. Oklahoma's not on their level. Like, he lost to Washington in the college football playoff in a game that they should have won. Like, that was a year that Texas could have won a national title. He lost last year to Ohio State. Now, that Ohio State team was very good, but when you look at the stats, they held Jeremiah Smith to like 1 reception. They were in the game fully. They had a chance to tie it at the end. They gave up the 90-yard screen pass before the half. Texas easily could have beaten Ohio State last year if a few things went their way. Not saying they were expected to going in the game, but they've had these big losses in the semifinals of the college football playoff. Now you got the team that's expected to win it all. You can't start the season with a loss against the team that just beat you in the semifinals.
And a team, Ohio State, I think Ohio State has the 2 best players in college football. I think Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs are the 2 best players. But quarterback advantage should be, we'll see what Julian Sayin looks like, but it should be with Texas.
He's not Arch Manning.
The advantage at every position, basically, aside from safety and wide receiver 1, should be with Texas. That's what the general consensus is. Texas has the top to bottom best roster in the country. They are 2.5-point underdogs, which I'm surprised by, but that's also just the home field advantage effect. So this is basically an even spread on a neutral field. And you would say Texas has the better quarterback. They're better at more positions than Ohio State is. And Ohio State, are they going to, we talk about this all the time. Are they going to be hungry after they just won a national championship? Sure, it's different players, roster turnover. I get that. But still, Texas is definitely has more to prove than Ohio State does.
Texas has everything to prove. Ohio State doesn't have to prove anything. You lose this game, you're still in line to make the playoffs. You're still going to smack Penn State. Michigan, that's going to be always a tough one, but you're going to smack Penn State. Michigan with a rookie quarterback or a freshman quarterback, that's going to be one where Ohio State probably has a good chance of winning by the end of the season. I look at this game for Texas. It is critical for Texas to win this football game for the sake of their season. And Arch Manning is not the one under the most pressure here. Like, it is Steve Sarkisian. There's no excuse to go into Ohio State and not win this football game.
Yeah, I 100% agree. We are going to give picks on this later in the week, so can make you guys come back. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you see who we are taking later this week.
Yeah, I think you can tell who at least I'm going to pick. I don't know. I think you can tell. But it should be an interesting game there. And one other stat before we move on here. It was really interesting to hear that these are two teams that are not returning a lot of production on either side of the football. Like, it's a lot of second string guys from last year stepping into starting roles. The only thing is these second string guys are like 5-star recruits who are going to the NFL next year. Right. So it's going to be a very fun game to watch. I can't wait for that game.
I say that I can wait because, Tanner, I will be getting ready for the wedding when this happens.
You got to make sure you're dodging Georgia Bulldogs on the road. I wouldn't be thinking about this football game either if I was driving on the Georgia Speedway trying to get to a wedding.
I'm going to get the we'll talk about it in a second, so I don't care if I spoil it. I'll get to watch the Clemson LSU game because that's on Sunday, but I'm missing these Saturday games and I'm pretty upset about it.
So Clemson LSU's on Sunday. The next game here, we have Alabama versus Florida State in Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee, Florida. Is this a game where the Alabama Crimson Tide are on upset alert, or do they go into Florida State and absolutely smack it down on the Seminoles?
They are going to rip them to pieces. It's going to be so freaking ugly because, look, Jalen Milroe, I have no clue what kind of guy Ty Simpson is. I don't know how good he's going to be. It seems as if he's more in the mold of a Kalen DeBoer quarterback than Jalen Milroe was. That doesn't mean Ty Simpson's better than Jalen Milroe. Doesn't mean you have a better NFL career or anything like that. But just you would think the playbook that they're able to run is more akin to what Kalen DeBoer actually does want to run. You're going against a quarterback who's not tall enough to ride most roller coasters. He struggled in the ACC at Boston College. Sure, he had some good games, pulled some upsets. He also had some really bad games. And I don't care if Kalen DeBoer is an offensive guy, if that's what you want to call him. He won I think it was an NAIA national championship. He won a national championship at a lower level. He got Washington to a national championship game. Sure, the first year at Alabama didn't live up to expectations, but he wasn't ready to compete with the grind of an SEC regular season schedule. This is not an SEC game. This is not a real regular season grind. This is week one. This is game plan. You saw what happened when he was given time to game plan for a tough opponent. They go out and they beat Georgia. Florida State, you think they're not going to handle them? Alabama is going to rip them to pieces.
Yeah, I mean, Castellanos got benched at Boston College last year.
Yes.
He got benched at Boston College. Now, he had a great game against Florida State when they went down there on the road and beat them last year. That was a hell of a performance.
A 2-10 Florida State team. Don't forget that.
No, at the time, we didn't know how bad Florida State was, but Tom Castellanos is going to get obliterated by Alabama. There's an article right now on Alabama.com how FSU quarterback Thomas Castellanos could be quote unquote challenging for Alabama. This Alabama defense is going to rip Florida State to shreds. I cannot wait for this game. It will be a blowout. Not much to talk about here. Now, I will say this. Last year, I do like Alabama. I was very high on Alabama last year. They let me down by not making the college football playoff. This year, my college football team is the Texas Longhorns. I usually pick one per season to ride in the SEC. So if Florida State does win this game, I'm not going to hate it because that just eliminates Alabama from the playoff conversation, basically.
Tanner, do you want to take a guess at what Castellanos' QBR was last year? Keep in mind, it's usually a lot higher in college.
No, I don't know. What is 50 something?
38.
Yeah, well, he's not a good quarterback. That's why he got benched.
It was 85 against Florida State. It was 99 against Duquesne. Good luck finding a team like that. 70 against Mizzou, 12 against Michigan State, 26 against UVA, 15 against Virginia Tech, 35 against Louisville, 1 against Syracuse, and he got benched in that game.
Well, and I equate not him getting benched necessarily last season, but him leaving BC. Like, he's not a Bill O'Brien guy. Bill O'Brien came in. He basically kept everyone who was there. Bill O'Brien's got his own guys now. That's the bottom line.
Well, yeah, I'd say it. We're talking about Florida State also. Again, I want everyone to remember they went 2-10 last year. So let's not act like he's joining a great team. And this is the difference maker.
13.5 juicy. Juicy. All right. Sunday, Clemson, LSU. Clemson is a 4-point favorite at home. I have a hard time going against LSU. I love the Tigers. I've loved them since they won the national title with Joe Burrow. Like, from a betting perspective, I bet them every year in week 1 with Brian Kelly. I lose every single year. I'm assuming that's probably how it's going to go this year. But LSU, if they do not win this game, and granted, I don't think they're going to, I wouldn't lay 4 points with the Tigers. I'll probably live bet this one. Maybe I'll just enjoy it depending on how my weekend goes. But Brian Kelly, he's not an LSU guy. If they aren't close to the national title this year, if they don't make the playoffs, I think they got to make a switch at head coach.
Well, Brian Kelly's kind of, I still view him as the same guy he's always been. Like, he's always been that good, not good enough. Sort of that James Franklin tier. The difference is now he's in a conference. With Notre Dame, you're getting to the big dance every year because you're not playing anybody. You're not in a conference. Now, when you've got 3 teams from the SEC that are basically guaranteed to get in the playoff, and you've got to become that 3rd team, or you have to create a spot to be a 4th team, he's not going to be able to do it.
Yeah. Clemson's really good this year. Apparently, they're going to have no challenge in the ACC. I think that's going to be maybe Miami, but Clemson really probably controls their own destiny in the ACC. This is a game for Clemson. If they win this one, you can book them for the college football playoff right now. LSU, though, coming this one with Garrett Nussmeier quarterback, I think he's going to have a huge year. We talked about it all last season. LSU was very young. This is kind of the year that Brian Kelly's been working toward. You have the quarterback back. You have all the talent around him. You have NFL guys all over the field. You need things to go your way. But I do think LSU is going to have a successful season. The question is, can they get it done in week 1? I don't think they're going to. Do you think they are?
Well, week 1, like you mentioned, Brian Kelly does struggle in week 1, but at the same time, it should be an advantage because you don't have film on anybody. You've got plenty of time to game plan. So both these coaches are good coaches. Brian Kelly is a good coach. Even though he might not be an elite coach, he is a very good coach. Dabo Swinney is an elite coach. So you should get a good matchup here. Garrett Nussmeier is coming in as one of the top Heisman favorites. Last year, he was 10th in QBR, 4,000 yards, 29 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. LSU's defense improved significantly last year. Now, it still wasn't good. I want to say they were like 55th in scoring or something like that. But when you're coming from essentially last place in the country, that is big improvement. So can they continue building off of that? On the Clemson side of thing, I was looking at some more mock drafts, Tanner. They've got 5 of the top 20 projected picks. So 1 out of 4 in the first 20 picks are coming out of Clemson. That is TJ Parker, Peter Woods, Cade Klubnik, Avion Terrell, and Antonio Williams. So you're going against one of the most talented Clemson teams that we've seen in a very long time. Like you said, they win this, they're going to win the ACC. They've got one other tough game at the end of the year against South Carolina, but they're going to be a lock for the college football playoff. So kind of the same thing as Texas, Ohio State. Like, it's only week 1, sure. But for both of these teams, this game does have massive implications on how the rest of their season goes.
Yeah. And then the schedule makers for the NCAA. I mean, great job. Great job. You messed up in week 0. You were horrendous in week 0. But to end the weekend, Sunday, we get Notre Dame, Miami at 7:30, Hard Rock Stadium, the place that Penn State should have knocked off Notre Dame last season in the college football playoff. And then on Monday night, not going to talk about that today, but we get TCU at North Carolina, Bill Belichick's debut in college football. That's going to be really good. A good way to end the weekend and head into our first week of the NFL. But Notre Dame, Miami, Grant, Carson Beck playing in the ACC. Now, I know Notre Dame's not an ACC team. They are a legitimate defense. I would love to see Miami win this game. They are a 2.5-point home dog here. I think Carson Beck's going to be good. I just don't know if Miami can compete across the board in this one. That's my ultimate fear.
Yeah, I'm just realizing I said Clemson LSU was on Sunday. I did not mean to say that was on Saturday. This is the Sunday game, Notre Dame, Miami. Yeah, this is going to be super interesting because on top of Carson Beck, first of all, it's a big shift going from Georgia. And I don't want to say being the golden boy because he wasn't that there, but Georgia's like the golden program. So if you're the quarterback, it's like you're a made man. Now, all of a sudden, you've gone from that to not being a made man. You've gone to a new school where you instantly got into some cheating allegations with your girlfriend and you guys break up and you're coming off of surgery. You couldn't even hold a football. So it's like your world has just been completely shifted upside down. And now you're at a new school and the team's coming in that was just competing for a national championship last year. I think they've gotten better. Jeremiah Love's obviously come back. They've got an upgraded quarterback, still got a really good defense. They're going to be really good in the secondary. And we know they're going to play this aggressive man coverage style. So they're going to test your receivers and they're going to test Carson Beck's arm, see if he really is back to full strength and if he's back to his best. And if not, Notre Dame could run them off the field in their home stadium.
They could, but like CJ Carr is going to be starting a quarterback for them. Never made a start in college. I'm very afraid of that. I think Carson Beck has all the experience. I don't think the moment's not going to be too big for Carson Beck. Like I think this is probably the easiest it's going to be for him, just playing in the ACC throughout this entire season. Notre Dame's great on defense. We know they have Marcus Freeman, who's an unbelievable head coach. I worry about the quarterback situation for Notre Dame in week 1. And if you're Notre Dame too, granted, I don't think you're going to struggle a lot this season, but if you lose to Miami week 1, you host Texas A&M next week. Like, I don't see Notre Dame losing both these games, but if they do, can you make a case for them to make the college football playoff? Probably
no,
not.
It's done.
It's done, right? So now they should beat these teams, but you can't make the case for it after 2 losses to open the year. So they need to win one of these 2 games and then sweep the rest of the board, which is, Purdue, Arkansas, Boise State, NC State, USC, BC, Navy, Pittsburgh, Syracuse, Stanford shouldn't have any problem doing that.
Don't forget about Sunday too, Tanner, the Beamer Bowl, Virginia Tech versus South Carolina.
I saw that on the schedule. It's good. It's at 3:00 for you.
Yeah, I'm just happy that we do have I'm happy that we have solid college football games spread out before the NFL season starts. We needed Sunday games. We needed a Monday game, and we got some interesting ones.
There's so much college football to bet this weekend. So much. It's insane. Like it's
everyone's playing, right?
Everybody's playing. It's 4 or 5 days long. This weekend's going to test you. Build up that bankroll. But I'm only going to I don't know. People are like, you shouldn't bet the big games in college football, the ones everyone's watching. I want to bet the big games. I want to bet the ones that people are watching because those are the ones I want to watch. I don't want to go on ESPN Plus to watch UT Martin play Oklahoma State. I don't. Even though Oklahoma State -23 against UT Martin, probably not a bad line.
Yeah, you could get you get Southeast Missouri State at Arkansas State.
Yeah, Lafayette +13.5 against Bowling Green on
boys
tomorrow, Thursday night. The Lafayette boys. I think they might win that game outright. ESPN Plus, Doyle L. Perry Stadium. That's what you want to watch. Boise State, South Florida on Thursday night. We got Nebraska, Cincinnati. That's going to be a fun one too. A lot of good games. This weekend.
What do you think's going to happen to Colorado's viewership? It's probably going to go straight down the tank, right?
Depends if they win. If they win, they're still must-watch TV with Dion. But they have to win. Now, they didn't have to win with Shedeur. The come up, them going to a bowl game or they were 1 win away against Kansas from going to the Big 12 title game last year. So they were in a good spot, and then they got their ass kicked in the Alamo Bowl. But if they're winning with Dion, they're still must-watch TV.
Well, they start by hosting Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is probably my number 1 sleeper in the ACC. I think obviously Clemson and Miami, the top 2. I would say Georgia Tech's my 3rd team there. So that's not an easy start.
That's a big game. But my fear is you're getting a lot of this weekend in week 1. And we're going to obviously talk about this on Thursday a little more, but we're getting a lot of teams who are better, but going on the road. And they're in that 5 to 6 point favorite range. Those are the teams that scare me a little bit because Colorado is a 5-point underdog at home. They might rally and win. You look at games like the South Florida Boise State game. South Florida is a 6.5-point dog at home going against Boise State. Boise State returns a lot of talent, but they don't return Ashton Ginty. What does that look like this season? So there's just a lot of those situations where teams are going on the road who are better and favored, and that's never a good thing in college football, especially in week 1.
For what it's worth, I still think Boise State makes I think they make the playoff again.
Got to beat South Florida. This is a big game for them.
Hopefully
honestly.
they can do that.
You look at their schedule. Notre Dame's a big game for them too. But if they got a cupcake of a schedule after that.
Well, that's at your turf, Tanner. That's at Raymond James Stadium.
That was a big game. That's my stadium right there. They play UNLV too. UNLV's worst. Did you watch the Idaho State UNLV game?
No.
I took an alternate under in a parlay, and it was the biggest sweat of a lifetime. Idaho State basically gave UNLV the work. UNLV was a 30-point favorite, and they should have lost the football game.
UNLV has Alex Orji, a former Virginia Tech commit who went to Michigan and couldn't throw the football, and Anthony Calandria, who's a former UVA quarterback, both on the same team.
Calandria is basically the starter. So Orji had the first drive, first touchdown run he can get. He's diving in the end zone. He gets hit on the 1 yard line as he's like vertical in the air this way, fumbles the ball through the back of the end zone. So then he gets benched basically the rest of the game. He came in to, run, QB power a few times, but it was mainly Calandria playing.
Calandria's
he's pretty good. He's not bad.
We got an inappropriate nickname. I'll tell it to you off air.
All right. I'll let the people know on Thursday what that is on air. But anyways, that was Ride the Line, the greatest podcast in sports betting, entertainment. Grant, why don't you take us out of here today?
Guys, that is going to do it for this episode. Make sure you hit the like button. That's the #1 way you can support us and support this channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. We will be back with college football week 1. None of this week 0 crap. College football week 1 picks coming later this week, so do hit that subscribe button. We will catch you all in the next episode of Ride the Line.